Holy Jake Maier. Wow, what a football game. Bombers come out on top at home, sweeping the Calgary Stampeders 3 times for the first time in nearly 40 years. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. Darren Bombing, Zach Schnitzer. We were both at the game, 30,000 plus, the Madhouse on Chancellor Matheson. A big win, Zach, that could have gone either way, similar to the first two meetings this season between the Bombers and the Stamps. I don't know about you. Do you agree with me that these two teams, I could watch them every single week? What entertaining football that was.
Well, that's why I had such a hard time taking the -4.5. I picked the money line, Darren, because you never know with Calgary and Winnipeg. Hey, Phyllis, David, Arlen, Comet, Booch, Friesen.
Good to see everybody.
Oh my God, this is the best. Like, what a game, Darren. I am just absolutely jacked. It was just absolutely nuts. My God, like they were marching up and down the field on us. Jake, like I know you and I, am I sounding okay? I feel
you sound great to me.
Yeah. Okay. I know you and I were chopping it up about Bo being done, but
yeah, we were having fun. That was
good. Jake Maier just gave him a run for his money.
Yeah.
Like this guy,
sure did.
I know this is a Winnipeg win and there's lots to talk about, but Jake Maier was unbelievable. Like, yes, he had his typical 1-2, throwing the ball out on time, but Darren, his precision off script, he was finding guys. Boy, did he work the Bombers on the edges, just throwing hitch screens and throwing into the flats. And we had a hard time tackling Peyton Logan. We really felt that that linebacking core. You feel that.
They really tried to get Logan, the absolute burner speedster, against a linebacker, right? Malik Clements. Tried to get them away from Donald Rutledge Jr., working to kind of the other side of the field. They did a great job with that. Boy, do Calgary have a lot of dangerous offensive weapons. Kadeem Carey, Peyton Logan, as you mentioned, Malik Henry, 3 touchdowns, 7 catches, 122 yards, averaging 17.4. We have to remember the Bombers went down their top cover man early in this game. Demario Houston pulled up lame on Malik Henry's first touchdown, looked to pull something in his leg, and then walked off the field on his own power. And then the next play, the ensuing kickoff following the Calgary touchdown, Patrice Rene, the Canadian rookie defensive back out of the University of North Carolina, he goes down to something looking much, much more serious. He gets carted off the field. So then you're left with Jamal Parker, a rookie American, and Tyrell Ford, a rookie Canadian. So Parker steps in, and you could see the Blue Bombers defense play way, way off. They did not want to get beat over the top. They didn't, but Calgary was able to get chunk, like big plays to Beggleton, to Henry, to Carey, to Logan, and really Jake Maier. He sure plays well at IG Field. 2 times in his career, he's just been nearly perfect passing the football. But both times, the Blue Bombers come away with a 2-point win.
I think that's so insightful, Darren. I think for all the people that are mad at Richie Hall, and I saw on Twitter a lot of people with the pitchforks coming out again at Richie Hall, playing, backing off, playing too soft zone. You're absolutely you lose Houston, who's already a backup, who's playing world class. Like he was a backup technically, but then he's a starter now on any other team, right?
Well, and he plays boundary corner. Like no. Winston Rose is kind of the secondary guy,
right? But then you lose Patrice Rene, who's the backup of the backup. So you lose 2 DBs. You already have Clements. They threw in Maruo, Briggs, Gauthier. Like their linebacking core is ravaged. Rutledge has played great, but exactly what you said, you throw a speedy running back returner on Clements and Maruo, and Clements had a rough game. I mean,
well,
listen,
look,
he's chasing his first game. He's chasing these guys. Even Big Hill missed a couple tackles. I mean, these guys were just marching down the field, and after the people in my car were like, oh, it looks like Calgary dominated this game, but it's because they were getting like small chunk, and the Bombers but the Bombers were going up and down the field. Like, where was the defense? What a nutty game. And we're gonna get to this. The one play that I think we would have been talking about a lot more, Darren, had this the other way.
Which one?
The Nick Taylor decision to let that punt go over his head for that second single point. It looked like he could have caught it at the 10. Everyone I talked to in the stand said it looked like he could have caught it at the 10, but then my family who was sitting in 131 said, no, I think it was going over his head. I think, and it was just like, you make it a 2-point game? Are you kidding me?
Well, I don't think they did that.
Oh, man.
I can't imagine in any way, shape, or form that was done on purpose.
Oh.
I don't remember specifically, but of course, you want to keep it a 3-point game, not make it a 2-point game. You do also have to remember that if Nick Taylor fields that ball and keeps the single out, Winnipeg could find themselves backed up. Well, they would find themselves backed up in their own end. And if you're not able to, like, talk about St. Augustine, Johnny steps in, steps up, and gets the job done with Brady clearly dealing with something. He was nicked up. Helmet was, not with him as he stood at the front of the sideline. So, he was suffering from something. But, man, Augustine came in, got the job done. But you don't know that. You're not going to start throwing dangerous balls if you're the Blue Bombers quarterback. No. If you're Zach Collaros, you got to make sure you're playing safe football. There's a difference between playing to win and playing to lose. But Mike O'Shea, a master tactician of field position, it may have been by design for Nick Taylor to stand on the 10. And if it goes over his head, let it go. Take the point. Look, Rene Paredes, Cody Grace, both very powerful, effective kickers. That's the battle of football between two very, very good teams. I said it to Chris Walby on the pregame show here, Zach. I know you were listening. You and I were talking.
Oh, you had a hell of a pregame with Walby. You guys were on awesome. Point, man. It was fun.
Yeah, it was tons of fun. And like you and me getting into the debate about Bo on Bonfire midweek. Looking forward to the next one on Tuesday at 7:30 here on the channel. But this Calgary Stampeders team, now they're 6-4, but they were 6-3 going into this game with 2 losses to Winnipeg, 1 loss to BC, and really playing really, really good football with mediocre to poor quarterback play. Jake Maier was an upgrade. I said it going into the game. It was reaffirmed in the game. Jake Maier is a player, falls 6 yards short of setting a new CFL record. He would have been the first quarterback in CFL history to throw for 300 yards in each of his first 4 starts. He threw for 294 today. He threw for 300 in his previous 3 starts, including one here at IG Field in Winnipeg that the Stampeders lost last season with nicked up Levi Mitchell. But
and he had that's a great stat too. And he had Ricky Walker right in his face one play, and the protection broke down, and he just zipped it on a rope over the middle for 10 yards. I mean, he just it just didn't look like he could be stopped every time Calgary got the ball. But people are talking about that single, and I think just from my standpoint, it looked like, first of all, Grace boomed it, and it was just like an atmospherically high punt. Those are hard to judge, I'm sure.
He's a great punter.
Yeah, and so it looked like Taylor, it looked from my vantage point like he could have caught it at the 10. You assume he's going to get 10, maybe 15 yards on a return. So it does back them up, but I think you'd rather take 10, 15 yards of field position versus giving Calgary the chance to win on a field goal, which they almost did.
Yeah.
They were marching, and sure enough, they get a holding call, Darren, on 3rd and 2. When they make the first down, at that point, they only need a couple more, and it's not a walk-off at that point, but there's only maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, making the Bombers respond. I mean, talk about a game of a couple of plays going either way, right? Like, that holding call was massive, but I can't imagine. I think Nick Taylor, I think it was just a sky-high punt, and I think he couldn't tell where it was going, and he just made the safe play. It ends up not costing them, but wow. what a freaking game, buddy. Like,
It really
what
was.
an electric atmosphere. And the best part was the Eastside, because Eastside sucks. They almost started that goddamn wave. And I yell, and Logan and David, who sit behind me, section 128, are like, Zach, they're starting the wave. And I'm like, stop the effing wave.
Oh boy.
If they would have started the wave, and then Jefferson at that point, this was late in the game, he's waving his arm like this because we're on offense. And he's like, shut up, guys. Like, calm down. You can't do the wave in a 2-point game. Oh, like, there's so much to talk about, Darren. I'll stop for you to get a word in, but like, Leggio played great, except he shanked that last punt a little bit. The defense came up when they absolutely need to with pressure, and
Mike O'Shea said after the game,
Dembski was unbelievable.
Mike O'Shea said after the game he would have liked to see his team play more defense. So, but they did make stops when the team needed them to. That's obviously important. But Jake Maier, we talked about, him and a lot of those weapons. Malik Henry goes for 122 yards playing against, a beat up Blue Bombers defensive secondary. But then you got to remember the Calgary Stampeders defensive secondary is also banged up right now. They're starting dime back, Titus Wall on the 6th game, Trey Roberson, their top cover guy on the 6th game as well. So, they're missing Jameer Thurman, like their best linebacker. They're missing their starting right tackle. So both of these teams dealing with their fair share of injuries, but you're right. Nick Dembski was electric tonight. 153 combined yards. He had 8 catches on 9 targets for 117 yards and a touchdown, 3 second down conversions, 53 of his 117 after the catch. Yak yards galore. He then chipped in 3 rushes for 36 yards. And this is what really stood out to me, Zach. Dakota Prukop, Greg McCrae, Dembski, masterful job by offensive coordinator Buck Pierce to be creative, create off schedule and just off scheme looks that Calgary did not expect. Nobody expected, but pulled those tricks out of his hat when he needed to. Prukop was effective. Greg McCrae had a huge game, 5 catches on 6 targets for 95 yards, had a touchdown. He, like Dembski, also had 3 second down conversions. Dalton Schoen didn't have a catch in this game until the 4th quarter, but then he had 2 first down conversions, or conversions for first downs on second down. Brady Oliveira, as we mentioned, banged up tonight, but did get 8 carries for 60 yards. Chipped in a catch for 16 as well. He averaged 7.5 yards per carry.
He was killing it in the first half, and nobody knew on TV who my buddy was. My Damien was watching on TV. Nobody said anything on the telecast why he was out. We couldn't figure it out, and then he had a hand on his right hip, I believe, and it just looked like he was a bit nicked up. So second half starts, you see McCrae and Augustine go in, but the Bombers ran the hell out of the ball, Darren? Like, Buck Pierce called a whale of a game. And masterful game against that Calgary. And we did it in week 8 in Calgary, right? That second game that we beat them. We ran the ball on them. Great. And David Asplund with the crowd, like, great crowd. Like, again, you get 30,000 plus in a non-Banjo Bowl, non-playoff game. Beautiful.
2 games in a row. 2 games in a row
with
that number, right?
Great crowd, and you get the 400 wins, man.
Yeah.
And someone was asking where I sit because they saw me from section 104. I'm at 128. I'm 11 rows up. So, and the best part of the game, not the best part, I'm being a narcissist, but I got caught on the TSN feed jumping up and down when Augustine got the nail in the coffin first down, and I'm jumping up and down like a crazy guy. I got to see Sandy, and I got to meet Allison Zimmer sitting in section 125. I did a special dance for them. That sounds really bad, but it was the floss, which my daughter taught me because Sandy said
I'm glad she
taught
taught
to make her laugh. And I didn't run up and down I didn't do the Schnitzer sprint, Jeff Kapilas. I was too glued to there was no point in this game that was worthy of a sprint where it was over until the very end, man. Like, I was glued to my seat. It was nuts.
It was Yeah. Like, I mean, I'll say it again. I would watch these two teams play at the North Pole, like in -50. Like, I wouldn't care where or
Oh
when.
my
I almost
God.
wouldn't care what the price of the ticket is. I would watch these teams play every single day of the week. What an unbelievable rivalry that Winnipeg is frankly dominating between these two clubs. And right now, with Nathan Rourke injured and very unlikely to return this season, the West Division was wide open going into this game.
We
Now
talked about
Winnipeg
this.
at 10-1, Calgary at 6-4.
Yeah.
It's not completely locked down yet. Calgary gets BC twice. Winnipeg gets BC twice. Winnipeg has to play Saskatchewan 3 times. We've all talked about the 1 versus 7, 7 versus 1. It's up on the billboard. You never know what kind of games you're going to get. Of course, this Blue Bombers team clearly more built for success than those Blue Bombers teams of the past.
This is not the 2011 Winnipeg Blue Bombers Swaggerville team.
We're looking at a likelihood, I would say at this point, not lockdown, but likelihood of a West final here in Winnipeg. It's probably going to be the Calgary Stampeders, unless Michael O'Connor shocks everybody. I think he is capable. I think he is good. I just don't know if he's going to be able to lead the BC Lions to the type of season they were having under Nathan Rourke. But a very different West Division right now.
We talked about this on midweek, Darren, and we said it, and we were maybe seen as hyperbolic, but we said if Winnipeg can beat Calgary for the 3rd time tonight, given what's happening with BC, the West Division might, for all intents and purposes, buddy, be locked up. And it might be. And we might be looking at an epic Western final between these two clubs, made more epic by the fact that what's on the line, right? You win that Western final if you're Winnipeg. Where do you play the Grey Cup? Where do you have a chance to not only win the first preseason game, the first regular season game at Mosaic, the first Western semifinal at Mosaic, and the first Western final to win the Grey Cup at Mosaic against an Eastern team that, let's be honest, like the East isn't exactly lighting it up this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could feel like a Grey Cup if that's your Western final. Like, I know I'm not going to jinx it, waiters, but like this is shaping up to be. I don't know. Does Jake Maier only play that well against us, Darren?
No. He, frankly, no. Like I know you say that tongue in cheek, but
sort of not.
He is a very, very good quarterback, and Jake Maier won the civic election tonight. I don't
very well. My friend.
I don't see Bo Levi Mitchell getting his job back anytime soon. I think the Stampeders, the rest of the way, need to roll with Jake Maier. They looked so much more dangerous tonight than they have all season long. That's with someone like Kadeem Carey, who, you heard me weeks ago. I thought he was in the MOP conversation with Kolaris and Rourke. Now you add in the ability to go over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns to Malik Henry, to get Reggie Beggleton 6 catches on 6 targets tonight for 68 yards, and a lot of yak yards. 57 of his 68 were after the catch. They found ways to get a big body that can move in Reggie Beggleton in space. But let's talk about this Blue Bombers defense, because you were mentioning how a lot of people saying, what's Richie Hall doing? I don't watch that fan perspective as closely as you do,
well, that's good.
Especially during the games. What were people saying? Text the hotline right now, 816-8477-204-816-TIPS, or hit the live chat if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Head on over there if you're watching on Twitter and join the live chat. We got hundreds watching on right now, which is or in the hundreds, I should say, which is awesome.
It's absolutely lit.
What were you hearing about Richie Hall? Hit the live chat right now, everybody. What did you see from the Bombers defense tonight?
Well, listen, I mean, really, it was for the first time in a couple of years, Darren, since that turnaround at the end of 2019. It was like, why is Richie Hall playing so soft? Why aren't they blitzing Jake Maier? Why aren't they getting to the quarterback? I mean, why are they playing off coverage so much? I mean, he just has all this time. But as you said, you're down to your third string DBs. Your linebacking core is already ravaged.
Well,
You start, but
wait.
well, I
Ravage?
think, well, not maybe
Ravage?
ravaged is putting it, but I mean, you don't have your starting
Malik
linebackers
Clements
there.
has been starting pretty much all year in place of Kyrie
Yeah,
Wilson.
but from just I'd have to watch the film, right? I'm
Oh,
gonna put
okay.
on
Thanks,
my
Mike
Mike
O'Shea.
Glacier. Yeah, exactly. But from what
I
I
gotta
saw,
watch.
Malik Clements got benched. Like, he was on the sideline a lot after the third quarter
Well,
because
yeah,
he,
I don't know if that's the case. The Blue Bombers work a very different defensive system. They bring in, they pull linebackers out. They'll bring D linemen in. They'll bring in Shane Gauthier with like, a 5-man defensive front. They do
yeah,
all types of exotic
sure,
type things. So I don't think Malik Clements got benched. When you
he
have
got
like,
burned. I would say that he
well,
got burned
okay,
on a couple of
this is
plays.
a traditional style linebacker, okay, and he's chasing down
I get it. I
Peyton
get it.
Logan all night.
No,
That's good
I'll,
scheming. That's not bad play from Malik Clements. That's
no,
good
it's good.
scheming.
You're right. But what I'm saying is that that's what people saw, and people are like, why are the Bombers playing so off coverage? But
Wow.
they tried
Jamal Parker's
blitzing
never played a
Jake.
pro football game.
Right. What you're saying is they kind of had to. They didn't look at what happened with Malik Henry. One of the first touchdown for the Stamps was beats them over the top. Now that's because Houston got burned, but Maier's showing you right there he can beat you over the top. And then they try and blitz Maier, Darren,
Yep.
and he was getting to the hot route. And then so you can't blitz him. You can't play back into coverage because he's so accurate, right? If you drop 9 into coverage, it's hard to hit those windows, right? You have the
Yeah.
linebackers missing some tackles, to be fair. But then if Maier is able to do all that, then it opens up the run game. Now you
Right.
can run the ball at will because you can't stop the pass. And so, I mean, listen, but the Bombers had injuries on defense. I mean, so did the Stamps. And maybe that's why these
Stamps are,
teams.
you want to talk about ravaged. The Stamps are ravaged. If you had to compare the two, this is
Yeah,
what Calgary was without. This is what it would be similar to Winnipeg, like in the
fair.
image of Winnipeg. Okay, they'd be without Winston Rose. They would be without Adam Bighill. They would
Yeah.
be without Jamarcus Hardrick. They would be without Donald Rutledge. They would be they would probably be without like a Nick Taylor. Uh, they're beat up. And that's like, look how well they played. Calgary played a very, very good football game in a very hard place to play. Winnipeg doesn't lose at home too often. Of course, they avoided losing 2 straight, following their loss to the Montreal Alouettes, but protect the house. That's what they did. Zach Collaros mentioned that after the game. You got to win games at home. I want to bring up something now, Zach, that stood out to me in the game, because this was a 31-29 Blue Bombers victory. So could have come down to a final kick, didn't. Somebody in the live chat there saying, oh yeah, comment, kicker watch is suspended this week. Yes, it's suspended for 1 week.
You're damn right it is.
It'll be back next week. But Zach Collaros, like, first off, Calgary and Winnipeg's offenses went blow for blow, drive for drive, punch for punch. I called it a Donnybrook, like a line brawl in hockey. It was absolute mayhem watching them go back and forth. So you think if people are out there are like, what's Blue Bombers defense doing? Did you see the way the Blue Bombers moved the football against Calgary, especially in the second half? Big chunk plays both ways. The way Nick Dembski played tonight, the way that Greg McRae emerged and played tonight was really, really big. But here's the thing. Twice, Zach Collaros threw interceptions in the end zone. End zone interceptions are monster plays in football. You're taking any chance of getting points away. No single, no field goal, no touchdown. One happened on the final play of the first half. That could have made things very, very different than 18-17 Calgary lead through 2 quarters. And then the next one comes late in the third quarter with Calgary also winning by 1 point, 25-24. So while it was a 2-point Blue Bombers victory, and we're talking about Nick Taylor letting the single go and the field position game and all that, Zach, this could have been an 8-point win. It could have been a 12-point win. It could have been very, very different had Winnipeg capped those drives. And I'm not hanging it on the quarterback. Zach Collaros
but he's
is
a
ballsy, gutsy. Yeah, he's a gutsy quarterback.
Look, Jared,
that's why he's good.
Let me say one thing. Him and Maier have the exact same number of passing yards, buddy. Very different ways to get to the same number.
Yeah, Collaros was 73%. Maier was 82%.
So he was high percentage, but same number of passing yards, right? But Zach is a guy. You saw late in that fourth quarter, he threw a 50-yard bomb in single coverage for Drew Wolodarski. The guy has got onions, and it can bite you sometimes.
Dangling
onions. He can barely walk. Anyway. Now tell me what happened on that first half, the end of the first half interception, because I saw him scrambling. There's about 10 seconds left. So he's probably thinking
he stepped up in the middle
or bust because the time clock the clock could run out. But it looked to me like he could have ran for the touchdown there, maybe, or was there a defender in front of him?
I think he was probably
sniped on that. Did he have a guy open even? I didn't see the replay.
Zach Collaros is he didn't have a guy wide open. It was picked off, right? But he was okay. So both end zone interceptions were Greg McCrae targets and Brad Muhammad interceptions.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, both instances identical in that sense. One in the corner of the end zone, one in the middle. But Greg McCrae and Brad Muhammad were a battle all night long. Muhammad, a very, very talented and young defensive back, one of those, players that John Huffnagel has unearthed. You're going to be hearing about him for a long, long time. He's made a lot of big plays this season, a lot against the Blue Bombers. But in that play in particular, that final play, I'm sure Collaros was, how many things are going through the quarterback's mind at that point? Progression, the play, everything.
Everything, right?
Aware exactly how much time is left. So he doesn't want to either put himself in a hospital position, quote unquote hospital position. He also doesn't want to go down short of the end zone. So he has to look at the ability to pass and put it into a tight window, something he's very good at, or make a play that you do not likely see from a quarterback in the CFL, and that is break tackles and score a touchdown.
Especially Zach, right?
He emerged in the middle of the pocket, stepped up, middle of the field, middle of the pocket, and looked for Greg McCrae. McCrae was targeted a lot tonight, 6 times. Nick Dembski only targeted more, 9 times in this game, but you could see McCrae effectively playing that Greg Ellingson spot, or maybe Dalton Schoen was, and Calgary was just keeping him guarded extremely well all game because Schoen didn't have a catch until the second half. But Zach, what we saw from Zach Collaros, was him trying to make a play with no time on the clock. So he doesn't know if a field goal is possible. He doesn't know. It's a broken play. Has it been 3 seconds? Has it been 4? I know that doesn't sound like a huge difference, but you talk to a defensive back or a quarterback or an offensive lineman, the difference between 3.5 and 4.2 seconds on an offensive play, it's an eternity. It's the difference between great coverage and somebody being wide open. It's the difference between a sack and a pancake block. Not exactly, but you know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. And if he looks at the film, he probably thinks, hey, I could have thrown that ball away and we have maybe 2-3 seconds. But asking a quarterback to keep that kind of time in his head in a broken play, I get it. It's just looking back, it's like, oh, you gave up 3 points, right? It's just when you throw 2 red zone interceptions, end zone interceptions, and still win the game. I mean, that's impressive because that's at least 6 points off, right?
At least
6 points. So the first one I saw, Bomber fan said apparently on the post game, Zach saw his first read standing on the goal line, then went to Dembski, which was the second read. Dembski was covered and went back to the guy on the goal line, and then from out of nowhere, I guess Brad Mahabin just sniped that ball. I mean, good play by him, right? I mean, it's not just that Zach screwed up, but then the second one, Darren, I don't know what people in the chat here think, but it looked to me like there was a little bit of an underthrow on McRae, and or Mohammed just was able to catch up to the ball in flight. But I didn't. At first, I thought it was PI because it looked like on that second red zone interception, it looked a little bit like McRae was bumped, but I don't know. I didn't see the replay on it. Was it an underthrown ball? Was it a good play by Mohammed?
It must have been a good play by Mohammed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll never know. You can ask the players and they'll say, hey, I thought it was open and it wasn't. You ask the defensive player, he might say something similar. However, Winnipeg was able to, levy those opportunities missed on those two red zone interceptions. Peyton Logan was slashing the Blue Bombers defense in the second half. What an impressive player he has been this year. We didn't see him in Stampeders games too much until Kadeem Carey went down with an injury. He's been, out of a couple games this season, but he has also just been knocked out of games and come back the next week. Peyton Logan, I remember one game in particular, I think it was Hamilton in Calgary, I could be mistaken, earlier this year, where Kadeem Carey went out with injury and Peyton Logan took an hellacious blow carrying the football. But the way he has been utilized since showing those flashes of speed and elusivity in space, he is clearly somebody who is emerging into that star realm in the Canadian Football League. What a game he played tonight. Winnipeg's, I'm sure Richie Hall and his defensive staff are going to be, thinking about number 20, like a Barry Sanders was number 20, all over the field and just making guys miss.
Good reference, buddy. But if you're making guys like Biggie miss, then you're a good player.
Yep.
And I think he may have made Biggie miss twice. I hate to say it because I love Biggie. I love me some Biggie. But yeah, Peyton Logan, right? You see this MOP candidate in Kadeem Carey go down to the Logan. This guy's money. Yep. But listen, like these guys, if they meet again, it's gonna be going shot for shot again. I just hope both teams are healthier.
Yeah.
And what has happened to Kamar Jordan? This is a guy, I don't know if you remember this game, I think it was 2018. He hit us for over 200 yards. This was the best receiver in the Canadian Football League at one point, him and Bo, and he is just a shell of himself. It's kind of sad to see, but I don't know if he even should be on the field anymore. Well, he's just he's not producing. He's dropping. It's too bad. It's too bad. These guys have short careers, Darren? Like, you can light it up and a couple of years later, you're done. You have surgery, you get an injury.
Welcome to pro sports, right?
It's
that's the way it goes sometimes. But a huge win for the Blue Bombers tonight. They avoid losing back-to-back games, which they did in 2021. Of course, those two games were, the division was locked up at that point. What kind of conversation would we be having right now, Zach, had the Blue Bombers and Johnny Augustine in particular not picked up that first down, and Rene Paredes kicks a 50-yarder plus, which he's done a couple times this year, and the Stampeders come away with a victory? The Bombers would be 10-2. The Stampeders would be 7-3.
9-2, 7-3. It's a whole different ball
9-2.
Game,
yeah,
it's crazy. Game. It's crazy how
that's a huge win for Winnipeg.
Wow!
Don't sleep on that. The way they played tonight, the way Calgary played tonight, don't sleep on how huge this win was for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I understand they came into this game already having the season series won, but you never know what's going to happen in the second half of a season. You never know what's going to happen next week. anything can happen.
No,
So you
anything can
need to get
happen.
as many wins as you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, those truly must-win games are in November. Hit up the hotline, 816-8477, 204-816-TIPS. You can tweet at us at Zach Schnitzer48, at Darren Bombing, at Bonfire Sports TV. But if you want to get through right now, text that number. Standard message rates apply, just like when you text your mama. And I'm going to ask everybody out there right now, you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, go to youtube.com/bonfire sports. Oh, look at that. Somebody already calling the hotline right now.
All
I can't
right.
answer. We're live on YouTube. But go to youtube.com/bonfire sports. Or if you're watching on YouTube right now, go give us a thumbs up on the video below. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We appreciate that a lot. And if you subscribe, you can ring that bell, click that little bell button, and then you'll get an alert on your phone. Quiet, not a big deal. Just whenever we go live, Tuesday nights, the day before the game with myself and Chris Walby, and then of course post game here on the Steamy Session. Game day after dark, huge win for the Bombers, and 30,000 at the stadium tonight. Zach,
Awesome,
paint us a picture. You talked about it a little bit, your personal perspective, but just fly on the wall perspective of the energy at IG Field these last couple games. The next home game will be the Banjo Bowl. That's sold out. This game was 30,000 plus. Montreal was 30,000 plus a week, or prior to the bye week. Paint the picture for us.
Well, I will in a second. I got to say a couple of things first that I'm seeing on the chat that are just incredible. One person, you're already gone because it's going so fast, said something about Dickinson can't chew gum and walk at the same time. I'm not sure what the reference is to, but I want to know. So please tell me. And I think this is my buddy David. And I didn't know your last name, but he's section 128. He's my good buddy David, who sits behind me. He has a theory that Greg McCrae not only played a great game, this is David Freeze, but faked an injury because the time clock was going down. Do you know when McCrae went down with that sort of phantom-looking ankle in the third quarter, I think it was, and the play clock was running down. I know I'm totally going on a tangent here, Darren.
It's all right.
But David pointed this out, and he said, I think he faked the injury because as soon as he got to the sideline, it was like the old Riders did to us, faking those injuries. I don't know, man. He comes to the sideline and then he's jumping up and down. He's ready to go. I think he did an audible. I which is genius, right? Because otherwise you take a timeout or a time count violation. But that was pretty funny, and that was pretty sharp by David to catch that. The atmosphere, man, like, it was picture perfect, like 100%. You're the first team to get to 400 wins, and they deserved it. They deserved it to happen on that night, Darren. Just incredible energy from the crowd, loud.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Friesen, I know I called you a troll a couple shows ago. Don't take it personally, man. I know, like it wasn't a personal shot.
Is he taking it personally? I thought he was joking.
No, he's mentioned it a few times in the live chat tonight. You bring great energy to the show, man. No hard feelings, no big deal on this end at all.
It's just that come up with a better nickname today. This is the first time you've done the same two chats in a row. Where's I don't know, Stan Mikawas,
Batia, or Bob Molly.
Bob Molly, or what? He's a fraud. No, the energy tonight, Darren, was unbelievable, and it's hard. Like, as a fan, and the people in the chat will probably agree, when a team is marching up and down the field on you, seemingly unstoppable, and you think you have them stopped on second down, and they get a first down again. You think you have them stopped deep in their end. They just keep marching. It gets frustrating, and it's hard to keep up that screaming and yelling that you absolutely need at the field, and that gets in the ear, it gets in the brain of Jake Maier and that offense, and it juices up the defense. But the noise, man, like you can hear my voice, right? Like Waiters, his voice and his hands hurt. Like, you're clapping, you're screaming, you're when you're really getting into it, you're hammering on the chair in front of you if the guy's sitting standing up, right? People were standing up in the fourth quarter. Like, sometimes it's hard to get the fans up on their feet in the fourth quarter screaming when we're on defense in a close game, but people were standing up. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful, man. Like the crowd, like I said, we talked about, to get 30,000 again, especially
awesome.
after that heartbreaking loss. But I think, I think Calgary brings that. I think it's like when you have the Jets and you have the Oilers come to town or something. It's become, I think, the premier rivalry in the CFL. And I think fans just want to be there. I was talking.
I truly believe Winnipeg, Calgary, BC are like head and shoulders above everybody else. It's not like that's the first tier, the rest is the second tier, whatever. There's a gap between Calgary, BC, Winnipeg, and the rest of the league. Of course, with no Nathan Rourke, we'll see how they handle things the rest of the way.
No, but it was a great night, and you're walking up the steps, and I was so excited about the win, I forgot about the 400. And then the maestro, Bob McGregor, he kind of stops you in his tracks with a special announcement. The only thing that they missed is when we win a game, Darren, you got to have the cannon go off at the end. It just doesn't feel complete. I know Greg Liverpool will say there's some kind of zoning thing, or you were saying maybe with the condos there, but God damn, you got to freaking just shoot the cannon at the end.
Yeah. I love this comment from Mac Carr, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Mac? How about the ref with the TD signal from the ground after he got decked?
Oh, that guy was
what a cool moment that was.
That was even the Bomber fans were cheering him, even though it was a touchdown against.
Yep.
You don't know.
No, it was kind of like, like when Mark Leggio hits a 32-yard field goal in the first half, right? It was like, oh, you get that Bronx cheer, right? That kind of sarcastic from the fans. But that was just a cool moment to see the ref.
Very cool.
He really did get decked. Like, he got absolutely steamrolled.
And then 5 seconds later, he's like,
well, he just Undertaker sits up and gives the touchdown call. That was great. Got a couple texts here on the Bonfire hotline, 204-816-8477. Ralph Campbell says, I hope the Riders keep Jason Moss as offensive coordinator. He's no Dave Dickinson. Hard to argue that. Don from the Exchange District says, the bottom line is the W. No matter how they win, we win, the Bombers, close and play hard. Great text. Appreciate you guys all texting.
Nice on the text.
The hotline tonight. Waiters, like, you don't get enough action on the live chat. Text, not Big Hill's best game, but a gutsy win. Absolutely. I mean, nobody's going to play perfect every play, every game. You need other guys to step up. Tonight, it was Johnny Augustine. It was Greg McCrae. It was Nick Dembski, who had his, I think he mentioned after the game, it was his most productive combined yards game in his CFL career. He had 153 yards combined tonight.
He was crazy
everywhere.
That juke he made on those two defenders, he was running to the outside towards us on the sideline, and then whoop, he just goes right in. He splits the D, man. Like, he was unbelievable. And on midweek, Darren, I'm just so excited about Dembski and Darren. But we were talking about how we were kind of predicting preseason that Nick Dembski was maybe going to have his breakout.
I thought he was going to have 1,000 combined this year.
Right.
Doesn't happen.
Outstanding Canadian season. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna throw a little plug for.
I disagree with this. This is not true. That is not an inflated attendance number. People are walking the concourse. People are in the suites. You don't see them. Well, there was 30,000 there tonight.
I think so. But
sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. So on the Sports Interaction /Bonfire Sports, right? Is it /Bonfire or backsplash? I'm thinking of kitchens here.
Here it is. SIA.com/bonfire.
Okay.
That's where you want to go. You want to sign up through that link, and then you'll get a nice bonus to your first deposit. You'll have essentially free money to play with for 45 days or something like that.
And not the kind of free money where you have to bet 10 times that to get it out.
That's right.
Which Zach did last year.
Ready to use right away. It's ready to use right away.
And you can get your money out super easy, but they have all these fun prop bets. Like, I'm not usually a bettor, but but doing the essay, it supports us, but it's fun. You don't have to bet like 100. You don't have to bet $1,000. Like I think I had I'm plus 70 since putting 20 down. Just betting the Bombers. And today there was this juicy prop bet, Darren, that I'm sure you saw. Some of the fans, I hope you guys saw in the
The
chat.
Dembski one?
Dembski
he nearly
plus
had that in the
minus
first quarter.
3.5 catches. And I'm thinking Dembski torched Calgary in week 8. They're gonna cover Schoen, right? Because he's the number 1 target without Ellingson.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna go to Dembski, and sure enough, by the middle of the first half, he had 5-6 catches. He was electric. Neil, how you doing, buddy? Like Dembski was absolutely awesome. He was at his best. He was juking guys, breaking ankles, getting huge second downs. Loved what Dembski brought.
You and I talked about this earlier this season, right, Zach? Like when we were kind of prognosticating what we saw from the Blue Bombers, what we were expecting to see on offense. We didn't see Dalton Schoen coming. He was a week 1 starter, but we weren't expecting him to be like the best receiver on the team this season. We talked about Nick Dembski and the different ways he's used. I think it was a post-game show where I kind of went on a little bit of a diatribe about Nick Dembski effectively taking over that role as the born and bred Winnipegger that is a superstar on this team. Andrew Harris is not a Blue Bomber anymore. Nick Dembski is. Nick Dembski maybe isn't that like lockdown for sure first ballot Hall of Famer, career record setter, that sort of thing. But he's used in so many different ways. The Canadian Army knife, we like to call him. He's not Swiss. And tonight, the way Buck Pierce utilized him, utilized Greg McCrae, utilized Dakota Prukop. We touched on it earlier in the show. It's crazy how creative Buck Pierce got tonight with those 3 players, with a variety of players. But to keep Prukop in after going for a sneak for a first down, running the ball, passing the ball, Greg McCrae, Nick Dembski, different, Brady Oliveira, different formations, different motions, that sort of thing. Pepper in a little Drew Wolotarski, a little bit of, Rashid Bailey. It was impressive to watch tonight. As much as that said, the reason this game was close was because Winnipeg was playing a passive style of defense. They were not going at the line. They were not press coverage. They were running a zone and playing off the line. They didn't want to get beat over the top. And it worked for the most part. I understand Malik Henry had a big game, but I'm not hanging too much. I don't know if you agree with me or not, Zach. I'm not hanging too much on the Blue Bombers' pass defense. They made plays when they needed to, as did the offense. These were just 2 very, very good football teams. Jake Maier was on fire. He was a surgeon tonight. Kadeem Carey, talk about a punch and a 1-2 punch, a 1-2-3 punch with Maier passing and Peyton Logan in the run game and the pass game. We have to remember the Blue Bombers defense is good, but it's not like dominant. That's just not a reality in pro sports. So you're going to have games like that. And they're both good football teams. Calgary's offense looked completely rejuvenated tonight
with Maier,
with Jake Maier. So, credit to them. It's due.
Well, and I guess I would touch on the, by the way, One Bird, I'm glad you got home on your bike. Good job, buddy. I would say this, that, and Richie Hall has talked about it, and so have the players, that they do play off coverage sometimes, because Richie Hall is betting that a quarterback who is marching 110 yards of the huge CFL field is going to make a mistake at some point.
Right.
The thing is tonight, Darren, there are injuries in the secondary and all that.
Maier didn't really make a lot of mistakes.
He didn't make them. He was laser focused. He was on point. He was throwing ropes. And so, listen, if you're banged up, You can't blitz the guy because he's hitting his hot routes. You can't hang back because he's so accurate, and then you can run the ball. It's hard to stop any offense. But let me say this, if the Bombers defense is healthier, in other words, you get Alexander back there, you get Kyrie Wilson there, right? You get maybe Maston. I don't know if we're going to see Maston. I think Rutledge is playing great. But you get you get a Houston there where you're not worried about a raw rookie getting burnt like Parker, right? You get some of those guys back. I think you maybe call a bit more of an aggressive defense. So I just think Jake Maier, he is the perfect kryptonite for the Richie Hall defense, especially with injuries. They were going to the sidelines, like just the mix and play calling. You got Peyton Logan. I mean, it happens. It doesn't have to be super concerned. Again, this game isn't that close if you don't throw 2 red zone picks. And maybe the wisdom, and I know I'm flipping to offense here, Darren, but the wisdom of throwing a deep corner to Greg McCrae, who's 5'9", I know he's speedy on Brad Muhammad, is maybe not the smartest thing. So there's things, but you throw 2 picks in the end zone, you don't usually win those games, my friend. And the Bombers did. So it didn't necessarily have to be that close, but I'm not super concerned about the Bomber defense at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Mike texted the hotline asking about the defense. We just touched on this, but I'll read it anyway. What are your thoughts, boys, on Hall switching the zone defense to a man defense, especially when the secondary has been getting chewed apart? Or would that be a worse situation in man? That's Mike on the Bonfire hotline. I think they would be in a worse situation. I think it would be a worse situation. Very good question. If they were in man defense. Vicky Short texting the hotline 816-8477. Donald Rutledge is improving. Baby. Donald Rutledge is improving every game. So fun to watch. I agree. He made a huge tackle for loss, a 3-yard loss. I think it was Logan carrying the ball. Just great penetration on a blitz off the edge on the backside. And, initially when I saw it, I'm like, was that a sack? No, it was a tackle for loss and a great play. But Calgary made up for it because they turned it into, they had a 2nd and 12 or a 2nd and 13. They picked up the first down and kept the pressure on. I think
that's where Clements got whiffed. Sorry, we'll stop picking on Clements, but Rutledge. I mean, they were
picking on anybody. You're talking about what happened. We all saw it.
Shout out to Vicky. We always have our moment in the fourth quarter. We look at each other. We're like, "Come on, defense!" But section 128, baby. Yeah. Rutledge just absolutely stuffs. I think you're right. I think it was Logan. It was probably the tackle of the game. And then you got that big play by Logan. But I love what Rutledge is bringing, man. Yeah. And you know what? Can I just say his reaction to the offside? I'm not sure who wrote the article. It was in one of the papers.
Friesen.
Was it Friesen?
Paul Friesen.
Yeah. Underrated writer, by the way.
Wildly.
We have some great print reporters in Winnipeg. I try and read all their stuff. You've got Friesen, you've got Wyman, you've got Hamilton. It's great stuff. Billick, it's great. You read all of it. They're great writers, great stories.
We are lucky here in Winnipeg. We got some very, very good writers. Ken Wiebe writing for Sportsnet. Murata Tesh with The Athletic. Yep.
Yeah. Friesen had a fabulous article about one of the only surviving players from the Bombers in the 1960s and sort of what he had to say about this team. They're just writing great stuff. I mean, and Ed Tate, of course, too. But where were we going? But just that, Rutledge, it was the Friesen article, and Rutledge owned it, right? He said that other teams have gotten away with those offsides, but he said, by the letter of the law, that's an offside and that's correctable. And that's a detail that I need to get right. Richie Hall said it. Biggie said it. And the accountability there, I think, is impressive. Because
no question.
Listen, that toenail lost them the game. So, but that's,
but other people will say it was Mark Leggio's toenail that caught the football
sure.
and
Well, it was a
shanked it.
couple of little things, right? But the thing is that the bomb, when you, and this was written about in print this week, catch those articles, folks, because it's great stuff. It's like, if you're exhausted, because the Bombers didn't practice, as you know this, Darren, better than anyone, they didn't practice as much during that 9-10 weeks without a bye, because they prioritize being fresh. But if you don't practice, you lose those details. You lose that mental sharpness. And that's what happened against Montreal. I have no doubt, and I know Montreal is a good pass rush. I have no doubt that if we're fresher, and now that we know that team, if we saw them in the Grey Cup, you'd see a different game. I know I'm getting ahead, but I do love what Rutledge has brought. I was quite worried when Maston went down, and I just think he's a force. And he's accountable. He has the right personality for this FIFO team, and he lays the freaking lumber, my friend. Yep. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
No question. No question. This team is so entertaining. Like, you go to the game, you watch on TSN, whatever, you're getting your money's worth. And a special time. We talked about this too, a really special time for Blue Bombers Nation, because this team isn't just entertaining, but they're so good. I understand they're not blowing teams out of the water. They're not, Nathan Rourking them with like 5-6 touchdowns and hundreds of yards and, multiple games, but they're winning and they're finding ways to win. It's almost like a collective energy, right? And they don't want to, spend too much on one game or another. They're like, just enough to win, just enough to win. And then they'll have enough to like reserve for that playoff run. But here's the thing, Zach, I think this is important to touch on, and get into the live chat right now or text the hotline your thoughts on this. These two teams will see each other in the postseason. I'm almost certain of it, one way or another. And where we are right now is a Calgary Stampeders team that is completely rejuvenated and re-identified. They have a new identity with Jake Maier at quarterback. Malik Henry, all of those weapons that they have, Begelton, Logan, Kadeem Carey, and so many others.
Yeah.
This Calgary Stampeders team will get healthy, like Winnipeg will get healthy, and they'll get their starting center back. Yeah, that's right. They're also missing their starting center, all-star Sean McEwen, as I failed to mention earlier. But their right tackle, their center, their dime backer, their two defensive backs, they're hurt. Tom Schnitzler, no relation, also injured, former Hilltop. And should also mention, this is important, Rifles football. Go to riflesfootball.com. They play Sunday here in Winnipeg at Eastside Eagles Field as they get their new turf put in at their regular home pitch. The Saskatoon Hilltops are in town, $15. If you're under 18, it's free. Great event on Sunday, kickoff at 1:00, Eastside Eagles Field. More information, riflesfootball.com. You can also find them on the socials at Rifles Football. But these two teams, the Stampeders and the Blue Bombers, will meet each other again in the postseason. They will be healthy. I hope both teams are as close to fully healthy as they can be. And it's going to be a war. You never know who's going to win when these two teams meet. It like 3 wins, 2-1, 1-2. It doesn't matter how the regular season goes. If the game is at IG Field, if the game is at McMahon Stadium, it's really looking right now like it's going to be at IG Field, the West Final.
Yeah.
But if and when these two teams meet in the postseason, it's going to be a absolute war. And I can't wait for that date. That's going to be one of the most, the biggest sporting events on Winnipeg soil in a long time. And, again, I said it earlier, Zach, I think everybody would agree. I would watch these two teams play over and over and over again.
Yeah,
what
for
great
sure.
football they put on. Dickinson versus O'Shea,
Yeah.
the American, the American emergence
Canadian
versus the
Mafia.
Canadian Mafia. It's really, really been something.
Someone in the chat here is saying that Dickinson kind of lost his composure late in the game, whereas, O'Shea never loses his composure. He's the ultimate stoic. Can anyone offer some context to that? Because I didn't see that. I'm on the west side.
What was that
Uh,
again?
hey, Frank Horsley's here. Whoa. I got to give a shout out to Frank, our good buddy, the UK bomber, all the way from Nottingham. Frank,
I think
great
he's
to see you, buddy.
having a little breakfast right now.
Right. Maybe
Good
he's
to see
making
you,
his
Frank.
famous English breakfast. To ask him about that. It's
Having
quite the
some
thing.
bangers.
But yeah, bangers and mash. So Bomber fan is saying Dickinson lost his stuff on a holding call. Now that we haven't talked about that holding call, Darren.
They were talking about that
Much.
on the Stampeders post-game show too. That holding call late.
That was a huge call.
Yeah, I think Doug Brown on CGOB mentioned that it was a makeup call, that Calgary
really?
maybe owed one versus Winnipeg getting called for one as well. But I wasn't at the field for that penalty. I have not seen it. I had to get out of there with a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter to get home on time to come see all you beautiful people. But we'll see. I don't know. They believe it was holding. I assume the makeup call was for the roughing the passer on Jackson Jeffcoat.
So let's talk about those two calls then.
Well,
because
Mike O'Shea mentioned, I'll just preclude with this. Mike O'Shea mentioned after the game that was a roughing the passer call because it was above the shoulders. O'Shea said, don't worry about the helmet. If it's above the shoulders, I don't know what's above the shoulders beyond the helmet, but either way, roughing the passer, he didn't have a problem with it.
Is that right? Eh? Okay, so I was too far away to see it, but the flags came out so quickly. It looked like he got him high from where I was, but it was pretty far away. But that holding call, my goodness! Like the Calgary's down by just 2 because of the Nick Taylor decision.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you agree with it or not, they are marching after a iffy, maybe Legio's only subpar punt of the game. Otherwise, he was great.
Yeah.
Calgary's marching. They're 3rd and 2. They get the first down almost to midfield. They only need a couple more first downs, and they can kick possibly a game-winning field goal. That holding call was absolutely massive. They got the first down there. I didn't see it. I would love to look at the replay, and I'll rewatch the game, of course. But we're getting here on the chat that some people are saying it's like half and half here. Half the people are saying it was a hold. Half the people are saying not. Love to rewatch that. And what do you think? Do refs do makeup calls in the CFL?
Maybe. I can't speak definitively to that. It's a subjective thing, right? Like the perspective we have watching the game, the perspective fans have, or whomever watching the game, is always subjective. Do the officials know a quirk of the rule that those watching do not, right? Like Michael Shea mentioned it on his coach's show this week that, time count violations, the official is instructed to watch the clock, and when it hits 0, then look down at the line to see if the ball's still there. So
right.
The ball,
that was really fascinating. Yeah.
After the clock hits 0, he can't see both at the same time. He or she, the official, cannot see both at the same time. So that's how they are instructed to do it. And then that's if it's systematic, and that's the way it's been designed and agreed upon by the rules committee and the officials and everybody at the Canadian Football League. That's the way it's done. Same thing's done in similar instances in the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NBA or the NHL. That's just the way it is. So us watching is subjective because you're going to say, was that a makeup call? Because that other one was so egregious, or was it, like a crazy circumstance that, maybe just kind of got by us, watching on.
Can I just ask? Here's an interesting one from Jeffrey Townsend, or Townend, saying, "Let's not forget the Collaros fumble in the first half, ruled an incomplete pass and blown dead, and nobody picked it up." That was an interesting call. I'm glad he brought that up.
Take care, Frank.
Yeah, definitely get better, Frank. We're thinking of you, buddy. But so glad you joined. I remember that play. So it was ruled a fumble, not a forward pass, but they blew it dead and nobody picked it up. That was an odd one. And then the Bombers end up getting a field goal. Jeffrey says they shouldn't have got that. But what was your take on that one? Because that was a bizarre one.
Okay, so here's the thing. When the officials blow a play dead, it's dead. It doesn't matter what happens after that, even if the play later is determined to have not ended. The officials ended it when they blew the whistle. They can't do like a pseudo, right. Oh, well, if he blew, if he didn't blow it, that's, the player would have picked up the ball. So the officials admit the mistake, that they shouldn't have blown it dead. The question is, did Dave Dickinson, he ended up keeping his timeout because he won the challenge.
He won the challenge.
But he was challenging, in the end, whether he knew it or not, he was challenging for a loss of down. Is that worth a first half challenge? No.
He wasn't challenging the fumble, right?
So did he, well, presumably, you would think he was challenging in order to get the ball, right? Because the Bombers were in scoring position.
Right.
They were in field goal range. So it could have been a touchdown, could have been a field goal. He was trying to keep those points off the board. The Stampeders did pick the ball up, but because the officials later determined to be incorrectly, blew the play dead, plays dead. So wins the challenge, keeps his timeout, but the end result is just a loss of down, not the loss of the football. So a little bit of intrigue there in that moment early in the game.
Yeah, it was super interesting. I mean, one thing I think we haven't talked about, Darren, is and my mother-in-law said this, and one of the best moments, man, of the game was before the game where I won that $500 from that what was it, Canada Drives contest. As if I need to win $500 to the Bomber store. I own everything in the Bomber store, but I get the $500. I get the jersey for my mother-in-law. She's been wearing the same Milt Stiegel jersey for 20 years. And it's a beautiful jersey, but I get her the away jersey because her partner David got an away jersey. And it says mother-in-law #1. That was the best moment of the night for me. And she loved it. And she showed everybody in the section. And Glynis was there happy. And my cousin was there. That was great. But one thing I don't think we've talked about enough or at all, and we were probably going to get to it anyway, was the lack of penalties. And my mother-in-law said on the way home, she said, there was a point in the fourth quarter where she looked at David, her partner, and Dick, my cousin, who comes from Michigan, and said, I don't think the Bombers have taken a penalty. And she's right. The Bombers had a total of 15 yards of penalties. The Calgary took a couple of holding calls on kick and punt returns, things that really back you up. So I want to give the Bombers props for that because, 15 yards of penalties is an excellent night for any team, even if it's a Mike O'Shea team that's usually pretty disciplined.
Yeah. 2 penalties for 15 yards. Calgary had 7 infractions tonight for 62 yards.
Yeah.
These two teams always play clean, hard-nosed football. What an absolute game that was. Just trying to pull up the live stats here, Zach. But I wanted to touch on a couple comments through the live chat. A little bit while ago, Winnipeg Gordo asks, did you see Ellingson and Grant get injured at practice? Did re-injure his prior injury? I saw Greg Ellingson run a route and then pull up limping and pull up lame. That was it. His previous stint on the 6-game injured list was a hip injury, whether that's a hip or a groin or a hamstring or a quad, whatever. You often see hip listed on the injury report across the entire league. Now it's listed as a foot. So presumably not a aggravation of a previous injury. That said, the injury report only states one injury. We're never entirely sure. Like these are football players. Everybody's playing with something. And some guys are playing with multiple things, right? So just because it's listed as hip or foot or ankle or elbow, whatever, it could be a variety of things keeping them off the field. Janarian Grant, I did not see, but he did practice early in the week. I think he practiced on Sunday, did not practice on Monday, or maybe it was Monday and Tuesday. But, I thought the Blue Bombers return game for what it was okay tonight.
Yeah.
But, maybe missing a little bit of that explosion. Leighton Janice, watching live on YouTube, asks, "Do we dissect Zach Collaros' 2 interceptions in the end zone?" We did. Neil just asked why Collaros didn't run on his first interception. This is the beauty of Bonfire Sports. This is the beauty of YouTube and podcast. You can go back. You can rewind, you can fast forward, you can pause, you can play, you can listen to the audio only, whatever you want. It's on demand whenever you want. So you don't have to sit down and take in an hour and a half or 2 hours of our show all at once. You can kind of digest it a little bit slower than that. This is an interesting comment from Tao Zen. In the postseason, Bo Levi Mitchell gets pulled in the second quarter. That's a pretty funny comment. On a serious note, though, I don't think
it's a little slow for me. I'm a little slow. I don't screamed too much that game, man.
Yeah, I don't think we see Bo Levi Mitchell again, barring injury to Jake.
I told you, Maier. Bo Levi Mitchell's done. You do not bench a guy like Bo Levi Mitchell with his pedigree.
But let's think about how he's playing.
No, he's not playing well enough. I think his injuries have caught up to him. He is a guy. I think.
Are we going to fight again? Are we going to fight?
Okay, no. I think you're
going to. That was a great show on Tuesday. I meant to text you or call you after and be like, "That was great debate." It gets the conversation going.
And we didn't even manufacture it, folks. We don't do that, nope. Darren and I. We don't like pre-plan. Like here, you're just going to say this. Like this is just hot takes. It's just real. No, I think Jeffrey Town, and I like what you're bringing tonight, Jeffrey. I think Bo Levi era is over. Maybe you'll see him as a backup for a while.
I could see the era being over, but he's been the starter since 2014. He's
and yes, Daryl
Brandel,
who I love in the chat here. Yes, that was me jumping up and down at the end. TSN caught it, so that was a fun little memento for me. But yeah, I mean. It's good to banter. It is right?
Good.
I love the text and calls. I mean, you've been basically begging for people to text that thing, and now it's lit up.
Can you imagine this? Fritchie mentioning, can you imagine Bo Levi Mitchell in Saskatchewan?
Yes.
Wow.
I think I will get I re-listened to the midweek show, as I always do, re-listen to the shows. And
drive safe, fellas.
I thought you did. I will give you that. You made a good point that there's lots of teams in the CFL who would take a chance on a Bo Levi Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No question.
I mean, with his pedigree, they might think, hey, maybe we can resurrect his career. You see that in football all the time. Right. You even saw that with Joe Montana, right? Like you see it when a guy loses his starting job. I could see him in Saskatchewan. I think he'd love to play in Saskatchewan. Him and Rod Peterson would just go at it. It would just be the most fun thing. But I could see it. I don't think he gets his starting job back unless Jake Maier just has Winnipeg magic and plays like trash against every other team. I don't know.
Couple comments here. Bo Levi will squawk and be traded before the Labor Day games. Mark mentioning that Ottawa should go get Bo Levi Mitchell.
Oh yeah.
Here's the reality.
Same with David. Yeah.
The Calgary Stampeders are trying to win a Grey Cup. You don't trade your number 2 quarterback when you've got everybody under the sun. You don't do it.
You saw it with the Bombers in 2019. You need a couple QBs to win the Grey Cup. Yeah. That's why getting Mr. Prukop back was absolutely massive. You might even need 3 guys to win a Grey Cup. You need a backup quarterback in the CFL.
Oh yeah, you need to be able to get through a game, right? If your guy gets nicked up,
and I don't think Ottawa's even in position to even make a run anyway. I mean, they're not gonna trade anything.
One bird
They're
Olimim mentioning here, why Saskatchewan, why not BC? Well, Calgary's trying to win a Grey Cup. They're not going to trade a quarterback that is going to spark and make another team better. I think that's the last thing they're going to do. If it's like a reserve player, maybe, but at this point of the season, you're only going to see trades between the divisions.
yeah.
I just don't see it. I could see Ottawa maybe helping out a Western team,
Sure.
if the trade is right and that sort of thing, and they want to build it up. Sean Burke trying to put his stamp on this team in his first year as the general manager. Have to mention this. Scott Roger, who is a loyal watcher and listener to Bonfire Sports, Rifles, Hilltops, get it going on Sunday here in Winnipeg.
Dude, I would take my daughter to that game. We're going to be at the lake, but you sold me on
Walby
it. I've never seen a
go.
rifle. Yeah, I heard Walby saying yesterday he might go. I'd love to see a Rifles game, man. And apparently the play-by-play guy isn't the worst.
Not the worst. Pretty close though.
But I'd love to see a Rifles game. I mean, we should be supporting grassroots football in this province.
Absolutely. And so if you can't make it down to Eastside Eagles Field this Sunday at 1:00, you can watch live on cjfltv.com. But if you can go, $15 for tickets, free for those under 18. So get the family out. It's going to be I think it's going to be nice on Sunday. I think there might have been a threat of some precipitation, but either way, have to mention Scott Rogers' son, Jake Roger, is a veteran receiver on the Winnipeg Rifles. Get this, Zach. Jake Roger last week in Regina against arguably the best team in the country right now in the Regina Thunder. Rifles lose by 2 to the best team in the country. Okay. Jake Roger has 252 yards receiving, was an offensive player of the week, not just in the Prairie Football Conference, but in the entire CJFL. Huge rifle up to the Roger family.
Wow.
Jake was a beast. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Quarterback Bryson McNeil, Luke McMillan, who is playing for the Rifles, but it remains on the Blue Bombers practice roster.
Right. He's in the roster.
They've got a good defense, some veteran players. Special teams have tightened up big time. Like, look out for the Rifles this year, man. They're gunning. As
we say in Hebrew, Mazel Tov, Scott Roger. If my son ever put up those yards in a football game, my God, I would be like
250 yards in a game.
That's crazy.
Awesome. Randall is watching live on YouTube. Think you're still in the live chat. Are the Blue Bombers leading the CFL in attendance? Yes, they are.
Yeah, you damn
yes,
right
they are. They've played more games than everybody else. That helps. But 30,000 for each of the last 2 home games. Banjo Bowl is sold out. Saskatchewan always leads the league. Winnipeg has the lead right now. So it's up to you, Bomber Nation. If you want the Blue Bombers to remain the loudest fans in the CFL, to make IG Field an impossible place for opposing teams to play, get out to the games. Zach, you're a young man. You're a young family man. But when I was walking through the concourse in the fourth quarter, like teenagers, 20-year-olds, 20-somethings, 30s, like the 30-somethings, the place is littered with young people that say the CFL is like got a dying or aging fan base.
It's not true.
Go to a game and wake up. It's unreal, the variety of ages and people of all kind of diversions at the Blue Bomber game. It's awesome to see.
100%.
Hit a game.
Hit a game. My best buddy Damian Penner, he had some knee surgery, so he was watching. I hope he listened to the podcast. He was watching from home, and his brother-in-law Dom came. Young guy, young professional, brought his buddy. They came to the seats in the first quarter. They gave us all a high five, and they were gone. They were in the concourse partying the whole time. You see tons and tons of young people. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere. Even I went to went out for dinner with my cousin Dickie before the game, and our server was a young woman with a Bomber shirt, and she said, "I'm not really a football fan, but we go to the games, here and there just as entertainment. I mean, you get those pregame deals. It's just such a fun place to be. I
Thanks, Greg.
love that. What? Okay, here. This is a huge digression, but this is huge for me. Transcona Poly has just confirmed that it was my buddy Damien who delivered his pizza to him. And he said to Damien,
breaking news.
Zach will know me because I'm the guy who only writes in caps. And I was like, oh, I know who it is. It was on the tip of my tongue. And I got to call Damien tomorrow. This is so funny. He told me, Damien says, you know who it is? He says he writes in caps. And of course, it's Transcona Poly. That is absolutely great. So you got a Boston Pizza delivery from my best buddy Damien, and that was just before his knee surgery. So his dad, of course, is the famous Fred Penner, who's been riding with us for 25 years. Fred doesn't get to many games anymore. He lives in BC. He took off. He did enough. He put enough time into Winnipeg, Darren? But
I'm a lifer, man. I ain't going anywhere.
I ain't going anywhere either. Those winters, you can F off. I'll just wear warmer clothes.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever. In 30 years, you'll see me in Costa Rica with Brian Pallister, the corpse of Brian Pallister. But listen, like, what a night, man. Like, I am so jacked. If we would have lost that game, I would have been so sad. I was angry at times in the game when they were marching on us, Darren. But you now have a 10-1 team, 400th win, first team to get it. A great, like just epic, memorable game at the park. That's a game I'll rewatch many, many times over the years. It was just so fun. And you go in, then you get to go into Labor Day 10-1, being pretty confident that if we play even average football, I don't want to be hyperbolic, that we are just going to absolutely own the Rough Riders. Like,
those 3 games are big.
I think they're a broken team. Yes, Jeffrey Fred Penner, the children's entertainer, lucky enough to know him. Yeah, man, like, to go in there at 10-1, being confident and winning that game and wiping off the stink of that Montreal loss is way different than going 9-2 with Calgary sniffing at your heels, right on your heels, and going into Labor Day where you don't usually win. Like, now I just think psychologically this was a absolutely massive win for the Bombers. And so many things tonight were so great. I got to meet Chuck Duboff and Allison Zimmer, who drives in from Eastern Saskatchewan, 6
hours. Good for her.
And mother-in-law's Jersey. I met a nice lady named Toby Sawyer. She is a 65-year season ticket member, remembers starting in Osborne Stadium. And then we get chatting. Turns out she's related to my wife's family. That was hilarious. That was awesome. I met Noah Atnikoff. He's a great guy from BC family here at N Coves and 95. We had a great chat, and he's a real big fan of the show, Darren. And just building this community, right? Like, I'm looking at Steve here, and just great people, and that's what it's all about. Now, you get a win, it's a cherry on top. Don't get me wrong. If we would have lost, I would have been a sad man. But it was a great night. I'm so happy we won, man. And just love the community we're building here on Bonfire, the people I get to meet. That's just the best part. And one more thing I'll say as I go off on a weird rant here. We do need to get to Marino because I think we should be worried about.
I'm saving some messages here. We're going to get to it. Yeah.
There's a lot, but Jewish geography. We all play Jewish geography, one bird. That's what we do. Did you notice, Darren, and we've talked about how much we love the third jersey helmets. Did you notice they had the third jersey helmets?
I did.
Did they ever look slick? Like, I'm not sold on that third jersey. There's enough blueberries.
They got to stick with that. They got to stick with that helmet stripe.
You have to keep with those helmets. Those are sharp as heck, buddy.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Some people asking for, like, I love those helmets. Like, that was the home run of those third jerseys. And you can ask Kirk Penton, former Football Reporters of Canada Reporter of the Year, longtime CFL writer here in Winnipeg and across the country for the Post Media Papers. KP, hope you're watching, buddy. I don't know if you are out there in BC where you are now.
I still miss his Insiders column. I know he's
great,
buddy at Pumper, but
one thing he always said about me is that I could always know when they were going to do like a throwback jersey day, because I'll like notice the gloves or notice the face masks have been painted or this or that. That helmet stripe, don't sleep on it. That's a good helmet stripe. It's much better, much more strong, I think. And you know, you look at the Blue Bombers jerseys with like the multiple stripes on the sleeve and multiple panels and that sort of thing. They just had that simple blue stripe on the helmet. I think that's more classic for sure, but I think it just looks more complete and well-rounded with that wide white stripe with the blue and on the gold helmet. I digress. Cheers.
I am tweeting it right now to the Bombers and Darren Cameron as we speak, because I cannot forget this. I am tweeting them right now.
DC's watching. If DC's not watching, I know somebody out there's watching for him. He's told me. He's like, he's got ears. He's got eyes everywhere.
I am tweeting this. Okay, well, I like that. They have got DC's a great guy. He gets like, this team is great because you have people that are high up in the offices there, right? Of a premier flagship team, and they'll text you back, they'll email you back. Darren Cameron's done it. I am texting Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Darren Cameron, Ryan Marcoux, whoever it is. You got to get those helmets every game. They are sharp as heck, man.
I'm with you. Let's make it happen. Daryl Brandel would love to meet you guys at the Banjo Bowl coming from North Battleford, Saskatchewan. All right, 970 kilometers from North Battleford to Winnipeg. Huge Bombers fan since 1976. What's going on, Daryl? Huge shout out to you. Bonfire Sports. Like, I'm going to the Labor Day Classic. I haven't gone to the Labor Day Classic since it was the Hustler and Lawless bus from Winnipeg to Regina. I was writing for chrisd.ca at the time. Couldn't write a story because the bus got me a little bit too, you know what, during the bus ride down there. But what a great time that was until the game, because the Bombers fans were tortured that day. Justin Goltz got the start. The Blue Bombers lost 52-0. I remember standing. This is something here, Zach. I stood outside the Blue Bombers locker room before they opened it up to media. Yeah. And Joe Mack, who's a GM. GMs don't go into the locker room. Joe Mack went into the locker room and was screaming at the top of his lungs because of how embarrassing the Blue Bombers performance was in that game. And
oh my God.
Like, man, oh man.
Can you imagine Kyle Walters doing something like that?
No.
Oh my God. What
no way. That just would not happen. But you know, this is a different football team than it was back in 2012, 2013. Boy.
2012, that was the 52-0. And thankfully, right after that game, I had a buddy's bachelor party, and we went to a place similar to paintball. I forget what it's called. Oh, it was called
laser tag?
No, it wasn't laser tag. It was something like
airsoft.
It was airsoft. So we went to airsoft, and I took out my rage on the other guy.
Jeez.
Oh my God, I was mad. 52-0. It's just embarrassing, man, to the riders. But we're gonna take it to them. Like, I don't know that we'd have to look this up. Maybe our good buddy Gregory Liverpool can look it up. But when was the last time we won 2 Labor Days in a row? Because I think we're going to take Labor Day and Banjo Bowl. I really do. I don't want to jinx it, Darren. I know Labor Day is its own thing. You're going to be there, but I just think this win.
We got to get you out there in years in the future.
Next year, when my youngest is like almost 3, I think I can sell it. I think I can sell it.
That's what grandparents are for.
I got some good ones. I'm lucky there.
So We've got to do our Bonfire Burning Point, our Westwood Wide to the right, our Walby Warrior, our Happy Honker. Am I missing one? Those are the 4, right?
Wide to the right, Happy Honker, Walby's Warrior, Burning Point, and then we have a game ball.
Right.
We can give a game ball or 2.
So while we do that, if you're in the live chat right now, what was your Bonfire Burning Point? No, not a TSN turning point. Your Bonfire Burning Point tonight. The moment, the happenstance, the moment in the game that determined the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming away with a 31-29 victory tonight. Couple things I want to touch on, Zach. I like this comment from Ty Riel, who is watching on YouTube. Prukop is a better QB than Chris Streveler. Change my mind. I don't know if anybody in the NFL is going to be calling for Dakota Prukop, but I would say Prukop's been good. This is an interesting, give us your Bonfire Burning Point and then something burning right here. This question from Ty. I like that one.
Well, listen, I mean, he has a point. I mean, my buddy Andrew, my neighbor who I brought, he was calling Prukop Streveler because of course they did a very Streveler thing, Darren. They kept Prukop in after a 2nd and short. They kept him in. Claros was running down onto the field, and then he comes back and Prukop throws a touchdown. It's hard to stop that. You have a running quarterback who can also throw a touchdown. The Streveler was able to do that. Yeah, I don't know that he's better than Streveler, but he's certainly a great addition. And you talked about it from the very beginning in the preseason, Darren, that Prukop would be a huge addition to this team. And when he went on the 6th game,
people were scoffing at me.
Yeah,
scoffing.
No. He's been money. He's been money. And he's holding the ball too, right? So
look how good Winnipeg is when they throw that changeup.
Yeah.
Like when they did that with Chris Streveler, and then they continued to do it with Drew Brown when Prukop got hurt. It was clear as day. Like this isn't just a little package, a little corner of the Buck Pierce playbook. This is like a whole chapter in that playbook.
Don't ever accuse the Bombers of having a little package. Ever.
Whoa, pardon?
This is after dark, buddy. Come on. There's so many burning points here.
Everybody's chiming in. Everybody's chiming in, which is awesome with the Bonfire Burning Point. But you and I, let's do our Walby Warrior tonight. I'm going to let you go first because I know who you're going to pick, one or the other, and I'm going to take the other guy.
I don't think you know who I'm going to pick.
Who's your Walby Warrior tonight?
Because I now that I actually understand the Walby Warrior, Darren, because I for the first 15 shows didn't even know what the hell it was.
Yeah,
I thought it was the player of the game. The Walby Warrior is a guy, right, who was physical, who was tough, who was hard nosed, right? That's the Walby Warrior. It's not necessarily a game
went to
ball.
War. The Warrior
went to war tonight, and for me, that's actually Donald Rutledge Jr. He had 10. He led the team with 10 tackles, right? He was kind of the GOAT last week, him and Legio, or a couple of weeks ago. He comes back. They have a depleted linebacking core. They are getting shredded, and this guy just kept making tackles. I think he's been underrated all year. I think Donald Rutledge really stood out to me, and just not only his play but his attitude. I think you could give a shout out to McRae. Andre Harms says McRae was that touchdown was me and Andrew and David and Logan and Steve, like, we didn't even think it was a touchdown. We didn't know why the cannon went off. All we saw was the flag and this little 5'9" guy fall down. I cannot believe he caught that ball. So I thought McRae was absolutely awesome. But for me, for a defense that got shredded a lot, I thought Rutledge was an absolute warrior. And I can't take that image of him just smacking Peyton Logan down because he had just been pissing me off like a little mosquito. And Rutledge just takes him down, and just the fact that he made a huge game-changing mistake, comes back, takes ownership. That's a Mike O'Shea guy. I like that. So he is my Walby's Warrior, but there's many candidates, right?
Yep.
People saying Shane Gauthier, Dembski, McRae.
Gauthier had the nice sack. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, my Walby's Warrior tonight goes to Greg McCrae.
Yeah.
And not just for his offensive production. As you see here on the screen, he had 6 targets, 5 catches, 95 yards, 19 yards per catch. Disgusting in a good way. 2 carries for 12 yards, which was nice as well. But yeah, one was for 0, one was for 12. So you can call it 6 yards per carry, but
sure.
really, that is what it is. But the reason I'm giving it to Greg McCrae is that this is far from his first game.
Yeah.
And, with the injuries that the Blue Bombers receiving core has gone through this year with Carlton Agadosi and, Dembski's missed some time. He missed 3 games. Greg Ellingson's been on the 6-game injured list now for a second time. Greg McCrae has been biding his time. I often try to highlight the guys that are just working their tail off.
Yep.
Like this guy came into training camp and it was like, okay, you're going to be a kick returner and then maybe back up a tailback. And then we watched him in training camp and it was like, oh, this guy can catch the ball. Like he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And then suddenly he's lining up at wide receiver and lining up at slot back. And as a first-year CFLer, learning the waggle. And it's like, why are they teaching a kick returner / running back the waggle? Then suddenly he's like second team wide receiver, second team inside slot, like playing that Nick Dembski role. Tonight, he finally showed what he can do. And I understand, 2 times he was targeted in the end zone and it was intercepted by Brad Muhammad, who is a very, very good player, as we mentioned before. But Zach Collaros didn't just go to him 5 times for 95 yards. He went to him a couple more times. Interesting that one didn't count as a target. But twice they went to Greg McCrae in the end zone, twice intercepted. But, he could have had 3 touchdowns tonight. He could have had 3 touchdowns.
Sorry, Darren, was that first red zone or end zone interception, was that to Greg McCrae?
Was.
Oh, so he was the first read there, eh? Interesting. Yeah. So that tells you something, even if maybe some people disagree that you're going for a deep corner to a 5'9" receiver, but the fact that he's going to Greg McCrae in 3 trips to the end zone, that's something. Ooh, right?
I like
that's a good one.
Great comment from Trevor Thompson watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Trevor? Walby Warrior pick for Trevor Thompson tonight. TT picks Buck Pierce. I love it. Yeah. He had a great game tonight. Awesome. Okay, so that is our Walby Warrior. Let's do our Westwood Wide to the Right. For those new to this, the Westwood Wide to the Right is the moment in the game that, or the moment of the night that didn't rub you the right way. The thing that happened that was just stupid, the thing you didn't like. It could be in the game, it could be the event, the atmosphere. A Westwood Wide to the Right of the past has been the Horns in Montreal. So chime in with your Westwood Wide to the right now. Moment to you that stood out, Zach?
Well, there was a moment where the wave almost started.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be my Westwood Wide to the Right. But it was also going to be maybe that questionable call on the roughing the passer late in the game, right? But the Westwood Wide to the Right for me are those 2 red zone interceptions, end zone interceptions. I think they can really kill you. They often do, right? Just ask Louis Elliott. But I think not. I think that first one, I get Zach's in a bad spot. The seconds are clicking down. He's got to make a read. He's trying to make something happen. But man, like throw the ball away, whatever. Like trust that maybe you have a couple seconds or something. But then he had a few underthrown balls. Didn't love that. I'm not going to throw shade on Zach Collaros, but I didn't love that second end zone pick, Darren. to a 5'9" guy in a deep corner. He underthrew him a little bit. He got Brad Muhammad, who's a bigger DB on him. Didn't love that, but I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. Had it been the wave and Steve Berea, you're right, my buddy. Luckily, I can't take credit for shutting it down, but I can pretend to.
You did your best.
Had that wave because it was starting on that Eastside, and someone shut it down over there. Thank God. They should get the Wallaby Warrior, but that was my wide to the right. I didn't love that, and we were lucky to walk away with a win. If you throw 2 end zone interceptions,
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, was Winnipeg fortunate to come away with a win?
I'm not saying they're fortunate.
Maybe.
But usually, if you throw 2 end zone picks, you're
I like holding you accountable, Zach Schnitzer.
Yeah,
I like holding you accountable
Someone
for
has
the things
to.
you say. Somebody.
My wife doesn't, because I make all the rules in this house.
That's not true. I
like
know
every
your
other
wife.
Jewish husband, I make all the rules.
Well, as long as you keep me in check, I can get a little bit loose.
Okay, no, throw a punch at me, buddy. Hold me accountable.
Well, you and I will fight, but I don't think it'll ever be fisticuffs.
No.
So a lot of people chiming in about the roughing the passer penalty to Willie Jefferson as they're wide to the right. Some of the penalties, some of the bad tackling. Somebody mentioned a bad spot of the ball.
Yes, there was a
wave,
bad spot.
Yep, that sort of thing.
Yep.
I'm kind of with Waiters. The moment, the things I didn't like in the game were the injuries. To see Patrice Rene carted off the field, crap. Like, hate to see that. So often it happens, to guys in their first game, their first opportunity to show. And then, Jamal Parker thrown into the fire because Demario Houston, who I think is clearly an emerging star in this league. Just remember the play he did with 45 seconds left. The last time Calgary was in town with that end zone interception, just a phenomenal play.
Loose change, baby. Loose change.
Get loose change. You got to pick it up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I have a wide to the right. I guess I could do the injuries. That's kind of not really in the spirit of the thing.
Let me throw one at you. Okay. I like this was going to be one of mine, and I'm not sure. Okay. It's the onions of Zach. Sometimes you like onions. Sometimes they make you tear up. But hey, Sandy, Sard had a good one here, and I'm not sure. I don't know if I agree, but I think it's a good one. He didn't like the call on 2nd and 10, deep in the fourth quarter when they were up by 2. Darren, it was 2nd and 10, and they threw an absolute bomb to Wolotarski, saying it was about 4 minutes left. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, right? Because you're trying to salt away the game with a 2-point lead, and then 2nd and 10, you throw an absolute haymaker to Wolotarski on the field side. Do you like that call? I didn't know if I did. It's one of those things where I think you have to take the good with the bad, or that's just the way Zach Collaros and Buck Pierce are. Sometimes it wins you games, and sometimes maybe they doesn't lose you games very often. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
I wondered about that. Like, do you make maybe a safer, more high percentage play with the time left there? Just wondering. It was an interesting point.
I think I know what my Westwood wide at the right is. I have come to a conclusion. It is the Calgary Stampeders in the first half challenging a football they could not
that's
get.
A good one. That's a good one.
What was he thinking? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe there's a little bit of gray area there.
I think Dave Dickinson has done that a couple times where didn't he do that last year, Darren, where he challenged something against the Bombers that was just ticky-tack and stupid in the first half? I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was there was a one where I remember thinking, like, you're challenging that. It was like a DPI on like 2nd and 4 or something.
Let's keep it going here. So we've done our bonfire. No, people are still chiming in with their bonfire burning point because there's a lot.
There's a lot of
possibilities tonight. But we've done our Wallabies Warrior. I think the offensive line, as Waiters points out here, no Sean Lemon all game. That would be a good one too.
Made up for last game where they got owned by Montreal.
We've done our Westwood wide to the right, so we still got game balls. We have help me out, Zach.
What?
I gotta start writing these things down.
I have it written down. We got Wallabies Warrior. We did that. We had wide to
the right. How about this for Westwood wide to the right? Pat McAfee saying Strafalski. Chris Strafalski, that's number 15. for the New York Jets.
Never bad to say a guy who's associated with Winnipeg to have a ski last name. Great Ukrainian community.
And
Lemon was squeezed, Bomber fan. I love that. The next one is our burning point, which is really burning.
Well, no, we're leaving the burning point because people are still chiming in on.
Okay, so we'll do our happy honker.
Okay. I know what mine is. Hands down.
So, David's asking, what's the happy honker? So Darren, let's explain the happy honker.
Go for it.
Okay, so it's a tribute to, I think in the old days of Canadians, there was a happy honker award. People leaving the stadium would honk their horns, and wasn't it a homage to Cactus Jack or something?
Yeah. But us doing it is an homage to Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack, and it's like something that maybe was missed or something.
A beautiful moment,
but a nice moment or something that was that caught our attention. For me, the happy honker is the Undertaker ref, as he's being called now. Like even though it was a Calgary touchdown, another Henry touchdown, the guy gets bowled over. And he's laying down on the turf, and then he like Undertaker sits up, and I can't get it in the camera, but I thought what, the refs always get trashed. I thought that was pretty cool.
You stole it from me.
No
doubt. Buddy. No, hey, no doubt. That was the happy honker. I'll give a honorable mention because I think we both agree on the happy honker, but I'll also shout out 30,000 fans at IG Field on, frankly, a perfect weather night for football.
Oh, wasn't it?
It was like 22 crisp,
20,
very nice. I understand that the stadium can get ripe when there's 30,000.
I'm ripe. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. I get ripe. Yeah.
Sure. But like some of those hot games, hot summer nights, holy man alone.
Hey, and I think Don has a good point here. We could give a happy honker to Mr. Leggio, right? We wondered how he'd respond to adversity. He hit all his kicks. Okay, so you want to move on. Do we
Neil mentioning Bo Levi Mitchell's been traded. People are just having fun in the live chat. He is not going to get traded. I'll eat my Bonfire hat.
It's such a nice
Bo
hat.
Levi, okay, I'll find another one. But Matt Neal mentioning happy honker, win number 400 at home in front of 30,000 plus. That's a great thing as well. So still time for you to chime in on your Bonfire burning point. Zach, who are you giving your game ball to tonight?
Well, for me, it's got to be Nick Dembski.
You
know how much I love Nick Dembski, and I was calling for him to have the most outstanding Canadian. You were calling for the 1,000 combined yards. Man, was he electric tonight! And that move he pulled on two defenders, just zipping right between them.
Was that the one that was like going to be a 4-yard loss, and he turned into a 4-yard gain?
No, that's one where Collaros was falling down and flipped it out. I think I'm not sure. There was one where Collaros was going to get it. Even Bob McGregor said it. He said it was supposed to be like a 13-yard loss. It turned into a 5-yard gain. Was that to Dembski, that one where Collaros was falling down and he threw it? He kind of threw it while he was falling down. But I just thought Dembski was electric. Just the way, Canadian or not, the way he can make guys miss. He has figured out the one kryptonite he had before. I've said kryptonite twice. That's odd. The one thing he struggled with was holding on to the ball, Darren. He did fumble the ball a fair bit before. He's cleaned that up. And man, was he electric tonight? You've got Ellingson out. They were covering Schoen. They were going to make sure that Schoen wasn't going to beat them. So Dembski comes in, the Canadian Army knife. And like we've said many times, when you have a guy that's your third, fourth receiver with the talent of Dembski that can take the top off a defense, can juke people, can run up the gut, can run a sweep, just absolutely electric. For me, it's Dembski.
So Dembski's got 333 receiving. Yeah. He has got 61 rushing. and he hasn't returned a punt in a few years. He had 4 kick returns last year. So his combined yardage through 11 games is 600, right?
And that's
right? 400. Sorry, 400.
And he was on the 6th game for what?
Well, yeah, he missed 4 games. So he's kind of on pace for a 1,000-yard season.
I like this
huge game for him tonight.
I like this. I like some of these other game balls. That Bucks play calling was excellent. Bombers O-line that had a lot of questions to answer from last game, Darren, and they stepped up. Mike O'Shea, Kyle Walters, Scott Roger, great point. I mean, the depth on this team is unbelievable. You see guys go down and they still get it done. So a lot of great comments here. Are you going Dembski too, Darren?
So I'm going to give my game ball tonight to, you could give it to Greg McCrae, but I gave him my Warrior, right?
Yeah, McCrae is a great pick, though.
I'm going to give my game ball tonight to Donald Rutledge Jr. He is a rookie, and he led the game with 10 tackles tonight. He was all over the field. He had a huge tackle for loss. I'm just trying to pull it up here. Donald Rutledge is playing a very, very tough position. If Dalton Schoen was not here, because what Dalton Schoen is doing is super rare and special, really special. If he wasn't doing that, we would be talking about Donald Rutledge Jr. as one of the leaders in the CFL for most outstanding rookie. Titus Wall in Calgary, he's got a couple touchdowns, some really big plays. But Donald Rutledge is just getting better and better every single game. I love his frame. He's big, he's long and rangy, has speed, obviously, to play that spot. But 10 tackles tonight, led the entire game. He gets my game ball tonight.
And Mr. Bomber fan is disagreeing with us. He's saying wasn't so great in pass coverage. I'd have to rewatch the game, but it's a tough position for a rookie, right? Against a team coached by Dave Dickinson with those schemes and a guy like Begelton. But we'll see.
Often you'll, like the Begelton yak yards, the Peyton Logan yak yards.
Fair enough.
Often you'll say, okay, like Rutledge is a linebacker. Well, he's actually a defensive back playing the dime back spot. I like call him a dime backer. He's not a defensive back. He's not a linebacker. He's a dime backer. He plays kind of both, right? The strong side linebacker, the what do they call it?
Sam.
The Sam for strong side linebacker.
Yeah.
Anyway, normally you say a DB has a bunch of tackles. Well, they must have been going at him all game long. Rutledge had a lot of tackles tonight on the screenplays where he needs to navigate through blockers. He made some tackles tonight on run plays. So that's why I gave him my game ball tonight. You know, nobody's going to be perfect. The Bombers were playing a more passive pass defense. In the end, they did enough to win. And you got to give credit where it's due. Jake Maier, Peyton Logan, Kadeem Carey, Malik Henry, they all played awesome tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're a very good offense. We know what Dave Dickinson and John Huffnickel are capable of. So let's give them credit where it's due. Okay, time for the burning point.
This burning point is tough, man. Like
I still am stumped.
Like there's a part of me, and looking at the chat, there's some great takes on this one. Great chat. Oh my God, this chat is lit up. Listen, like you could easily say it's that holding call where Calgary was forced to punt when they were charging to try and take the lead on a what would have been a Rene Paredes field goal to take the lead by 1 because they were only down by 2. So they took just the worst time they take this holding call. But then you have Johnny Augustine icing the game at the end for that big first down on 2nd and 6.
Yeah.
You know, that could be one, although there wasn't a lot of time left. The funny thing about that is that's when I get like I'm so nervous at those points in the game. I start saying stupid stuff, and I remember turning right before that 2nd and 6 first down that iced the game by Augustine. I turned back to in row 12 to Logan and David and Steve, and I'm like, Oh, man, I just saw Mike Miller come into the game, the fullback. They're gonna run the ball. Why are they running the ball? Just, flip the script. Don't just run the ball. They know the run is coming with Augustine. They're gonna stuff him. We're gonna have to punt. Sure enough, Augustine gets like 15 yards or something and ices the game. So I looked like an absolute idiot, but that's great. John Elliott, Brady Oliveira it looks like he got nicked up on the hip there.
Hurt, injured.
We don't know.
He did not play in the second half,
but
was on the sideline. It's not like he left the game. Like he left the game, but he didn't leave the field.
So there's a he was standing there. Like the third one is possibly where Jackson Jeffcoat bats down a ball on first down and then sacks Jake Maier on second down late in the fourth quarter. That was finally the defense stepping up, right? So it could have been a lot of things in a game this tight. There's a lot of burning points, right?
Yeah, like
I kind of stole all of them from you. Sorry, Derek.
No, you know what? That's okay, because I kind of like to dig a little deeper to a moment that maybe wasn't so glaringly the penalties late, the roughing the passer, the first down from Johnny Augustine, those sorts of things, all definitely burning point material. Yeah. I'm going to go with Dakota Prukop on Winnipeg's 9-play 70-yard drive. That made it the final score, 31-28. Well said. So they ended up, is that right? Yeah, they ended
29.
Yeah, they ended up scoring a single, but that was the game-winning drive. Nick Dembski picked up 18 yards. Dalton Schoen had a 26-yard catch and run. Wolotarski for 9, and then Prukop really made things happen in a couple times. He, threw the touchdown to Rashid Bailey, but a sneak to give them first and goal, and then another sneak for 2 yards for the touchdown. I'm giving that's my Bonfire burning point tonight. Was him coming in. I want to mention this, Zach. So Joe Daly, link in the description, joedailysportscards.com, gave us these awesome, forgive the green guy, but these awesome upper deck cards. Gave us a box of them, right? So like just for a look here, there's Zach Collaros, there's Lucky. These are great cards, beautiful cards. You can go check them out at Joe Daly Sports Cards on St. Mary's. Here's the thing, because I was reminded about this tonight. So they call them hits. You get hits in the pack. There's a Darrell Walker with a piece of the game jersey, a thick card. Okay, apparently that's worth a little bit of cash. Somebody in Saskatchewan wants this. And I don't say that hyperbolically. Somebody actually wants this Brett Lowther autograph card. They're going to buy it from Bonfire Sports. But here's the thing. Here is one of 10 Rene Paredes. Here, let's see. Hang on. I'll do this with the light. Whoop.
Yeah, we got to get that light. There we go.
So there's a Rene Paredes autograph patch card. And if you can see there, that patch in the gold surround there, that is a piece of a game-worn jersey. And I think it's like the fire-breathing horse on one of their alternates. I think. I'm not sure. Maybe a Stampeders fan can help me out. Zach, get this. Because I haven't even told you this in person, I don't think.
What?
This card, somebody is going to buy it off of Bonfire Sports for $120.
No way.
Yes. We were extremely fortunate. I was talking to our good friend Cade, Bomber History on Twitter.
Oh, Cade, yeah, buddy. I love Cade.
Hooked me up with Joe Daly and all those great people over there.
Awesome. Cade Arneson.
He's helping me broker some of these deals. He bought a box. He bought a case of boxes. So like where we got 16 packs like this in like a box, it's like $100 and something, right? He bought a case of those boxes, did not get one of those autograph patch cards.
Yeah, he bought one bad,
like we got there. So somebody in Calgary wants it. We're going to reinvest this, buy another box of these beautiful Upper Deck CFL cards. We're going to crack them open. I got a whole pile of, here, we'll just do this. Let's see, this will be better. There we go. I got a whole pile of, where did they go? Oh, here we go. I got a whole pile of Blue Bombers, right? So like, okay, well, there's Lucky. People will want a Lucky. Okay, there's the man of the hour, Nick Dembski. There's BA, getting ready for a return. Alden Darby, healthy scratch with the Hamilton Tiger Cats this week. Drew Wolotarski. So I'm going to collect, there's the dude, QB1, Zach Kalaris. And like, here's the thing too. These are really, really nice cards.
Yeah, they
great
are.
Collector's items and a chance to pull in some like really cool, like, I know Darrell Walker's not the player he used to be, but like that's a piece of his game worn jersey. Like that's awesome. Same with this Patrice Rene and some of these autograph cards. I'm going to collect all of the Blue Bombers cards and we're going to give them away as a prize here on the channel. I'll probably throw in Darvin Adams, Lucky Whitehead, some of those former Bombers as well. That are fan favorites. But we're going to keep reinvesting and get more prizes for all of you out there.
Great, man. I love
watching.
It.
Yeah.
We got to get Sandy a pack of cards though too. Oh, she's just chiming in right on cue. I got to get you a pack of cards.
Those are amazing. Well, Sandy,
to you in 125.
Sandy, you want to tune in. Like this, the best part too is you get to rip these packs open and kind of tear Cody in half, right? If you're a Bomber fan. But we're going to do that on Tuesday at 7:30 on Bonfire midweek. Zach, you're taking the week off.
I'm at the lake, so I'm getting get Wally.
Don't spoil the surprise.
Here. I'm not spoiling it, but it's someone who's pretty darn good.
We'll see.
Wally pipped.
We'll see. No, you're not going to get Wally pipped. I'm the GM. I'm going to keep you in the lineup.
Okay. No, those cards are pretty sweet. I love that people are buying them and we'll reinvest. We'll get some more cards.
Yep. Apparently, this is a really rare one. I got this Boris Bidet. Apparently, we got the kicker box. We got a Lowther autograph. We got a Paredes special card.
Waiters.
And a Lowther.
Update on the mug. Andrew should have a time limit. Waiters wants that mug. Did Andrew get the mug yet? I don't think quite yet.
Andrew hasn't reached out. If you know Andrew, get him to text the hotline. Let me know, or email wpgsports@gmail.com. This is one of my favorites, James Butler. And if you can see there right at the bottom near my finger, can you see that? It says 13 of 185. So like they have these red cards. These are collector's items. Well, they're all collectible, but these are the collector's items. And then they have these gold ones. That's the Bidet. See, it's got the gold on it.
Is his name Bidet or is it Beatty?
I don't know.
Bidet, that's pretty funny.
Do you understand? Like people have been mispronouncing Zach Caleros.
But if you call it, because people were calling him Boris Bidet when he missed that convert.
Boris Beatty?
I'm just getting wacky. I think it is Beatty. I don't think it's Bidet.
I don't even touch the jersey. Like I don't want to do that with, even if it's like a Miko shape, anybody's beard. That's just your own. That's it.
I bet you have a soft beard, Darren. I don't have a soft beard, unfortunately. It's a little scratchy.
But like people have said Zach Caleros, saying it like it's spelled for a long time. Even now,
seriously.
Like I've tried to go on a mission to clarify for people that it's Calaris.
Yeah,
like
you gotta be respectful.
Like a CU sound, CUH, lar, us. Zach Calaris, not Calaris. Calaris.
With scratch and sniff, Andrea Kohuch. That is
remember those? The stickers?
The beard. I'd scratch and sniff that playoff beard. Even it probably stank like cigar smoke, but
I think somebody would love a game worn jersey card from this guy.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Check them out. JoeDailySportsCards.com.
Yeah, buddy. I love it. I love what Joe Daly and Kate is getting us into. And we've broken the 2-hour mark.
Dude.
Do we have any last thoughts?
What are we forgetting? Are we forgetting something? I always worry that we're forgetting something.
No, we didn't. We got the Wallabies Warrior, the honker, the wide to the right, the burning point, and the game
balls.
ball.
Yeah.
We got the game balls.
Huge shout out to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Like we're still at well over 100 viewers watching live.
That's great.
People will watch this on the replay. Our numbers here at Bonfire are awesome. If you know somebody that is interested in sponsoring Game Day or After Dark or midweek or the entire channel Bonfire Sports, we're going to be doing hockey coverage this coming year, so stay tuned. We got some special announcements coming there as well. We're going to be in Regina for the Labor Day Classic. Of course, we'll be all over it for the Banjo Bowl here back in Winnipeg, the playoff run, the Grey Cup. Bonfire Sports will be there. Zach, it'll be Grey Cup number 8 in a row for me, I think.
All right.
No, maybe 7 in a row. But looking forward to that. So if you got somebody out there who wants to get their business or their brand or their message out, hit the hotline, 816-847-7204-816-TIPS. And we'll have a conversation. We'll get it going. We get thousands and thousands of people listening to the podcast, right? and downloading and watching on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and LinkedIn and their favorite podcast app. Yes. Yeah, we're on Twitch. We're on Twitch. So be sure to hit us up on that. You got a final thought, Zach? You're cruising off into the sunset with a huge win and getting the week off Bonfire midweek.
Yeah, thank goodness. It's such a grind. I mean, 10, 12 weeks in a row without a bye week. It's tough. Dead horse cider, I've never had it. No, this was just a great night at the park. So many amazing memories made. But like I say, like the win is the cherry on top, and I'm a fan, and that's the most important thing. I'm not gonna be all warm and fuzzy and say like, oh, it's this great community that's the best. I want the Bombers to win, God damn it. And that's what I care most about. But you know what? This great community of chatters and people who watch and stop us, Darren, at the game, or maybe even, catch us doing some errands, in Winnipeg. Just great people we've met, and we're building a great community. Yes, I want the Bombers to win, but this is a close second. I just love the people I've met, Bomber fans, and you guys just make this everything. If it was just me and Darren talking to each other and recording it, it'd be fun.
But if one person was listening or watching, we'd still do it.
Yeah, for sure. But, Braden and Towsend and Jeff, Hadley, shout out to Hadley, Scott
Gordo, Waiters, freezing even you, man.
Yeah, even freezing. And whoever said I needed some sun, I'm gonna get it this week. But it's kind of my lighting. I got to figure it out. But,
I got the warm lighting happening here.
Do we have
you got the
Discord
white walls
yet?
And no Discord yet.
What's Discord?
Discord's like a place where people kind of meet and talk to each other and that sort of thing
online. But I just being a Bomber fan, I met Sandy today. I've made friends with Steve now, and I can't wait to meet Jeff Kabilis, and I hope we have some kind of get together. Just you guys are all great people. You're so much fun. You're funny. You're insightful. You bring up questions about the game I didn't think of. It's everything I dreamed of in doing the show with you, Darren, and it's just tons of fun, man. So shout out to
and this team is tons of fun to watch, right?
Yeah, man, awesome.
We'll get a MySpace, Steve. I promise. We'll get on that.
MySpace.
Just before we go, Rifle Up Sunday, 1:00. Get down to Eastside Eagles Field. Kids are free. Anybody under 18 is free. Tickets are $15. Rifles have a very, very good football team. They're 0-2 after playing the two best teams in the country, in my opinion, in Saskatoon and Regina. Both close losses on the road. They're going to be home. They're going to be primed and ready to go. So go check them out on all the socials at Rifles Football and at riflesfootball.com. If you can't make it to the game, cjfltv.com. Scott Rogers' son, 250 yards receiving last week. Had a score as well. Huge performance. He's looking to build on that as well. And my last thought, as Waiters asks if I'll be live in Regina all week for the Labor Day Classic, I'm going to be heading out with Ted Wyman and Jeff Hamilton, the Sun, and the Free Press, and Bonfire Sports, making
Canadian
our way out
Mafia.
there. Yeah, you want to keep, yeah, there you go. The Winnipeg Mafia. If you want to, West Winnipeg Mafia. I like that. If you want to follow along on all the social media channels, I'm going to be posting a lot of videos on Twitter and Instagram, and definitely on YouTube on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and probably Monday. If you're in Regina, get at me. You know my phone number. It's right there. 204-816-8477. Text. I always get back. If you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast afterwards or watching the replay of this, we appreciate you. Everybody who joined us live, we appreciate you even more. Give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and commenting. All that really helps us here at Bonfire Sports. And if you're interested, you want to go to sia.com/bonfire, sign up, get a big bonus you'll immediately be able to use to put some wagers down on some awesome prop bets in the CFL, on the Blue Bombers, on all of the games. I don't know about you, Zach, but I've already pulled out a whack of cash.
Oh, I'm making money.
I'm playing house money right now. Like the CFL it's where it's at, man. Just pay attention. Watch Bonfire Sports. We'll help you out.
Games, you watch the analysis. You can make some money. SI, it's a great site because I've used other sites and they bog you down with all this small print, and getting your money out is a complete joke.
Use this link to sign up specifically, sia.com/bonfire. And if you want to some help or you're unsure or that sort of thing, text me on the hotline, 816-8477. I'll help you out. It's super easy. So get out there and do it. Yep.
And Winnipeg Gordo, we've been thinking about away game watch parties. So don't think I didn't notice that. It would be something fun we could look at maybe next year. Away game watch parties with Bonfire Sports, I think would be super fun. So something we're definitely thinking about. And love you all. And I'll see you post game Labor Day. I'm missing Tuesday, but I'm still going to be on the post game.
Jeff Kabilas, I want to know, like Maddie and Dusty were talking about who? They're my buddies.
DC?
Big fan of Dustin Nielsen and Matt Dunnigan. Probably my favorite play-by-play color duo.
They're pretty. Yeah, they're great
broadcasts. And keep in mind, Sarah Oleski has one more game in Winnipeg. That's the Banjo Bowl.
Banjo Bowl. You gotta get her. You gotta get an interview with her.
We'll get her on. We'll get her on the channel. Sarah's a dear friend. Just a lovely person. So wishing her the best in the next chapter.
Regina pizza.
Yeah,
it's Western pizza,
and it's Regina style pizza.
Yes, I've been told. Yes, now I understand. Thank you, Darren.
Okay, so we'll leave it there. Leave it there. Yeah, I suppose we'll leave it there.
Oh, yeah. This might be the longest show we've clocked, Darren, but the longest post game will have to be the Labor Day.
We're giving the people what they want. Like, how do you tell dozens, hundreds to say, sorry, we're done, we're out of here? They're still watching. They're having fun. So thanks again, everybody, and appreciate you a lot. We'll see you Tuesday. Special guest in for the vacationing. Zach Schnitzer. So don't miss that on Tuesday at 7:30.
And I'll be watching. There is a little bit of Wi-Fi at the cottage, so I'll be watching. Pumper like checks in at the last minute, eh? Love this guy. Just like 2 hours and 13 minutes in, we finally hear from Pumper. I talked about you
Pumper.
Earlier,
glad you're feeling better, buddy.
Yeah. We're glad you're back. Okay.
All right,
we
everybody.
Just don't know how to say goodbye, but we will. Goodbye, everyone.
So hard to say goodbye. Good night, everyone. Bombers win 31-29. They're 10-1 and look poised to win the West. We'll see you next time here on Bonfire Sports.